Hi everyone, welcome back to Radio Unfiltered. I am Praveen, and today I am really excited because I have a very special guest with me, my friend and my language teacher, Michelle Marvin. Michelle, thank you so much for joining me today. It's always such a pleasure to talk with you.
And thank you for inviting me. I'm so honored to be here, and I'm really enjoying that you're doing these podcasts.
Michelle, I'm really looking forward to hearing about your journey, how you became an English teacher, your experiences working with international students, and of course, some funny stories along the way.
And me too, and I have a lot to say, and I'm excited for your audience to learn more about what we do in these classes and how they can become better learners too.
Yeah. And you are such an inspiring person. I truly believe communication is one of the most powerful skill we can develop. When we learn a language, especially English, which connects so many people around the world, it doesn't shape our personality, it also helps us build deeper connection with others. So, Michelle, to kick things off, I would like to ask you, what first inspired you to become an English language teacher?
That is an excellent question. For me, I'm originally a trained singer, so I had to learn a lot of different languages myself. So first, I was a student and also was able to do some traveling and go to Europe a few times and get the feeling of what it's like to be a foreign person in another country. And once I did that, I just fell in love with it. And I love working with people and I love helping people become successful. My bachelor's degree is in speech therapy. And so I mixed all of my loves and got a master's degree. And now I specialize in English pronunciation and also grammar and vocabulary and communication, cultural learning when you're coming to the United States, for example, and most of my students are corporate and really very fluent. So we really do the fine tuning of learning, like you, right? My star student. You really are, though. You sound great. And look at the confidence you have.
Thank you so much. I always enjoy having conversation with you. You have really, I think in the last 1 year that we have been in having this session, one-on-one session, you have really improved my communication skill. So thank you so much for that. And I really love hearing what you said, what you explained. So that was really wonderful. And since you have taught students, many students from so many backgrounds,
Mhm.
what's the funniest or the most unusual question a student has ever asked you in a class?
Well, I don't know about if I can answer a question, but it always comes down to how things are pronounced. So, just as you said, I've taught many people from different backgrounds, different languages, Russians, Poles, Spanish speakers, Indian, and all the different languages in India, for example, right? So, we have different pronunciations. Maybe something is replaced, a sound doesn't occur in the first language, so people are taking something and substituting it for something funny. So everybody has their own special things that they bring into the English. That's why we have an accent, okay? And I was told that I can say things like they are really said without offending anybody. But, the one big one that people have problems with are the E and the I vowel. So I had a Polish woman come to me recently and told me I was in a meeting and I shared my spreadsheet with everybody and everybody laughed at me and I didn't know why. So, and I had to explain to her, you just said a bad word. And we come into these little embarrassing but understandably complicated issues with sounds that change the word into something else. And sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's embarrassing. And speaking of the word embarrassing, there is a word in Spanish now, I can't remember exactly, but the word embarrassed translates to pregnant. That would be something an American's if American says, I'm embarrassed, there's a word in Spanish that means pregnant. So, like that kind of thing, it can go both ways, is what I'm telling you. Um, that so th- I think that's kind of funny. I was thinking of some other kind of example. Like a friend of mine actually is a teacher, and she married a Spaniard. And at their wedding reception, the waiter came around and said, "Would you like a soup or salad?" And he said, "I just want a little salad," instead of soup or salad, right? He wanted a super salad or he didn't want. So all kinds of wonderful little things happen in the language and it's really fun. Each student's different. So I hope that answered the question. I've got so much to say to you. So you can reel me in if you need to.
No, that indeed answered my question. Thank you so much for that.
Mhm.
Like English can be pretty confusing sometimes. For example, why do we park in a driveway but drive on a parkway?
That's a very good example of that. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So I want to understand. I want to ask you, like, do you ever get tired of explaining these things, or do you secretly enjoy watching us struggle a little bit?
No, I love every minute of it. I have developed friendships all around the world, and everybody brings something very unique to the class. I love the one on one coaching. I love how successful my students are and that they need just some fine tuning, most likely pronunciation or presentation skills, but also like this high level of learner when they come and originally think, I don't know what this is going to be like. And then they really get into it and they really enjoy it. And then when I see improvement, I just feel like you're all my kids or something, that you're all going off and using these skills and getting promotions and feeling more comfortable in the environment that you're working in. So I just never ever get tired of it ever. I love it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I really want to understand your perspective. The language is evolving. Every language is evolving.
Mhm.
And now we have something called Gen Z language. And I struggle a lot. I struggle a lot to really understand Gen Z language. Do you have or have you come across any students from Gen Z age group? Was it difficult for you to, understand or teach him or her about the proper English?
No, I mean, I'm not really dealing with native speakers who are bringing new words to the language. I mean, let's put it this way, language has been evolving since the beginning of time. If you read Shakespeare, you can see just how things have changed over time. The confusing part, though, is the spelling. The spelling will say the same. Why is there a K in the word knife or knee? That was probably pronounced at one time, and we just keep the spelling, and then it makes things harder for the learner to figure out, well, why is this letter silent? Why is it there at all? So spelling versus pronunciation can be complicated, but I rather am probably the opposite of what you think. I'm less of a purist and more of a the language is if it's useful to the group of people that are using it, it's absolutely correct, okay? And we talk about how accents, there's nothing wrong with an accent from whether it's the country you're from, the region you're from. If a group of people agree that this is correct, then it's correct. I mean, with some help, our goal is that we have to make you understandable, you and all students is what I mean. But when we think even we say the King's or the Queen's English in the UK, why does that make it the most important English? It's not just because they have the wealth and the power. I mean, they're all correct, okay? But we have to find some standard and that's what I teach, like a general pronunciation. So does that help?
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Uh, I want to get into a little deeper and try and understand, every learner struggle with.
Okay.
So I want to understand, like, what's one common mistake international students always make when they're trying to learn English, and how do you usually help them fix it?
I mean, you're asking you can't generalize that because think of even in India, think of all the different versions of language and the things that exist and don't exist. I have Polish students right now, they have no articles, meaning no the, no It
Yeah.
doesn't exist in their language. And then a German student, they have three, der, die, das, and they have masculine and feminine and neuter, and we don't have that in English. So I have to study the first language of my student a bit so I can anticipate what the problems are. Problems. I hate to say problems. Differences will be to help them. TH sound doesn't exist in most languages. The A sound, like cat, is very, very American. The British say cot, and we say cat, even working in it. The R, is usually trilled, and we do this very ugly sound in the United States. So I can't, one size does not fit all, and that's what makes it never boring and always fun.
Yeah.
But I can kind of predict in a way. And then I kind of treat things similar to speech therapy. You have to hear the sound in order to be able to say it. So we do some ear training. My greatest days are when my students have learned something and they're saying it and then they correct themselves. And I just feel like I can finish the day happy when people start to really hear the changes in themselves and can self-correct. But it's hard to, y- it's not a one size fits all kind of a thing.
Yeah. I want to ask you one more question, and I think this question perhaps very interesting for the people who are in corporates or who are mainly into public speaking, in a area of public speaking. A lot of time, including me, I use a lot of filler words like you
Don't.
know, like, and exactly, and I'm trying to overcome of that issue, not to use so many filler words. And you're helping me, getting rid of that bad habit.
Good.
But like, if you want to tell our audiences, if there is any trick to
Yes.
get rid of those filler words, what would it be?
Record yourself first,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And you will hear it and you will think, why did I do that? Why do I do it? Also, know that having a pause is okay. A little bit of silence is okay. Your words are valuable enough in a meeting. People can wait for you to collect your thoughts. So maybe taking a breath and letting people just sit for a second. A lot of times the filler words occur because you feel like, oh, I've got to get these words out. People are waiting. Sometimes people rush and they will put the filler words in. My real trick is here. See this glass of water?
Yeah.
If I'm collecting my thoughts, okay, excuse me, all right, pretend like I'm drinking maybe. I don't use filler words. I had a real pause. Everybody needs to drink water, okay?
Yeah. It also keeps you dehydrated, so that's another benefit.
Definitely. All
That's
good.
another, yeah, that's all good. So one more question related to what I asked you just now.
Yeah.
People who aspire to be a leader, or want to be in leadership role. Let me tell you the problem what I have, or probably the problem what many of like me from India would be facing is that if I want to say something, I have to use so many words to really express my real intent.
Hmm.
It could be because we need to develop the vocabulary. We need to
Yes.
know the exact word to use. How do we do that? One is that practicing daily, making notes of some words and trying to ensure that we use in a daily, day-to-day language, communication. So how do we overcome? Tell us something about that.
Well, you can study with me, of course.
Of course.
Okay. No, it's interesting because, and again, I teach only high intermediate to low to high advanced students.
Hmm.
Okay. We're not spending a lot of time with grammar here. We're doing a lot of pronunciation checking. pretend conversations, getting ready for meetings. And I would say most of my students say, I had the perfect comeback or the perfect answer in Hindi or Polish or Russian, but I can't quite say exactly what I mean. And sometimes, to be honest, not everything is truly translatable. I would say, don't worry so much. Really say what you need to say. People, if you're in meetings, people will probably get the right idea. I do think that vocabulary building is important. I think the best way to practice is to listen to things. There are so many, along with this great podcast, there are many podcasts to listen to. I love anything National Public Radio that exists in every major city in the US, or it's similar to the BBC, but if you're working here, you should listen to an American accent. Fantastic podcasts. I love The Moth, if people know what that is. Real people get up and tell stories about their lives. It's so entertaining. Listen, listen, listen. Pick up words. Listen to phrases. Maybe if you have something important you have to say in a meeting, try out some vocabulary just by, Googling like Youglish. I love that site that you can pop in a word and you can hear 1,000 different ways it's said. But I think that don't worry too much about the details. Have confidence, be courageous, get out there and just start talking. And I would say most Americans want you to succeed in your speaking, and they will help you along uh, to get your point across. But it is frustrating when you want to say something and you really can't find the words. But that comes with practice.
Yeah. Thank you for that answer, Michelle. That is very practical, very pragmatic answer, and connected to same question what I ask you. And maybe I'm taking this opportunity to ask you all my personal problem, but I'm sure many people, if especially from India, if they are listening, they would relate to these questions. I have one more question, and this is a bit of struggle I think every Indian goes through, or
Okay,
most of them.
sure.
You know, we are by let's say by nature we are more into like a service oriented economy, where we like to serve people, we like to be more polite, and we
Uh-huh.
hesitate to say no. So
Yes.
we will go out of the way to get that delivered, so sometimes we have to compromise our work life balances, we have to do
Uh-huh.
things to ensure that we deliver what we have committed, what we have promised, because we find it so difficult to say no. But
Uh-huh.
as I'm working in the United States, I have seen here the culture, like, people are very assertive. They are not rude, but they are very assertive, and they say, sorry, I can't do this, and no one minds it. Like,
I
so
mean,
how
it
to
may
be an
be, sorry to interrupt you. Go on.
so the crux of that question was like how to be
Unassertive
an
or more
assertive person.
assertive?
Yeah, an assertive person.
Again, I don't know if one can generalize. It depends on what industry you're in. Forgive me, but if you're a man or a woman, maybe even part of the country, what your regional culture is, I think that it's becoming more acceptable in this country to be honest. And I think we had this time where we all thought, oh, multitasking, everybody should multitask, but then you don't do anything completely well. And I think it's okay to say to a boss or a team, I would love to do that by Friday. I have these other 4 things to do. My instinct is to say no because I can't get all these things done. Maybe we can all prioritize together what I should do first. I don't think it's a matter of people not wanting to do something. I think we all want, I mean, I should speak for myself, but we want to help people. But to be unrealistic is actually, I think, not as good of a thing if you really can't follow through with the work, for example. And this whole work-life balance, I think that's something our parents didn't have. I think that people are getting a little more aware of the benefits of that and good health and being happy. And, people switch jobs in a way that our parents' generations didn't. People were committed for decades, and now I think a lot of employers want you to be happy, so you stay. They don't want to lose their talent. So I appreciate that though. What an interesting question that is. That's part of the cultural training that I offer, and also how different cultures think about different things, how they approach different kinds of work or life things. I think that coming from India and coming into this culture, there are a lot of differences. I'm going to ask you that. Can I ask you a question too? What
Of
did you
course,
find? Yeah. Okay.
I've been over a year for me here, and I'm finding it very overwhelming in a positive way. People are so kind and nice, and
Good.
no one is judging you basically. No one is judging you. So that's very, very, very good thing. People are very friendly. And because I'm working with people from a different culture, different backgrounds, and I'm able to learn so many things from they don't have any qualms. I think I'm using the right word,
Oh,
qualms of, you
wow.
know,
Good job.
they don't have any, so I can approach a director or any senior person, and I have not seen they are showing any attitude. They
Huh?
really appreciate the work that you do. They really appreciate the delivery. So the focus is more on like how you perform than, who are you, as an individual. That doesn't matter, I believe. So that's really good, which I've observed here. And for me, another good thing that happened that I met you, you know,
Thank
yeah.
you.
And you've been such a wonderful person, helping me, going out of the way and trying to make me better and better in my communication every week.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I have to tell you, and this has been said to me by some students. Usually I get people I work I have a company called Accent Clarity Coaching where I take individual students mostly for pronunciation and culture, but then I also work through a corporate relocation company, and I got you through that company. Sometimes I'm a person's first friend in this company or in this culture in this country, and I take that very seriously because I'm oftentimes the introduction. And sometimes I get both spouses, so I have both people in the married couple, and they're learning from each other through me, and it's just like this. I think a comforting relationship that they know that they can come to me with any questions or anything, and I'm here for them. And I have students I took several years ago, I'm still in touch with them, that once I'm your teacher, I'm always your teacher. So it's like my life's work. I'm really happy about it.
And I want to call out one thing very specifically. I think you're not saying that deliberately, maybe, but I think it's not just the junior or the mid-level manager position that you are teaching to. You are also teaching very senior leadership level position like C-level people,
Yes,
CFO,
the
CEOs.
C-suites.
Yeah, the C-suite. So that is really awesome. Would sometimes think that it's just the layer, the level management people who requires to go through this training, but I think the communication is for all, irrespective of position.
Definitely. I have a CFO right now from a South American country, and I really, again, don't think they understand what they're getting into when they first meet with me. But we talk about all these different nuances in their pronunciation and then how to manage maybe people and meetings from different cultures. I mean, I'm going to add too, not only are my students coming here and then communicating with people in English who are native speakers, a lot of people have a team of people who are all second language users trying to communicate with each other. And that's why this kind of centralized pronunciation is what's helpful so people can understand each other.
Yeah. I think one more thing I want to call out and then you can elaborate more on is that,
Okay.
you as your teaching style, you believe teaching one to one, you believe teaching like personal connection. You are not having at the moment any training program through any virtual training program, something that we spoke before.
No?
Maybe you can explain the rationale behind, why you prefer to have one-to-one connection or any virtual sessions.
Okay. Well, first of all, I have taught large classes with mixed first languages, okay, in Chicago. Lots of people from other places. I've had a classroom with Polish people, Spanish speaking people, Ukrainians, Russians. And it is hard to teach pronunciation when people are struggling with different parts of the language, okay? My people from India, V and U are difficult.
Yeah.
My people from Spanish speaking countries, B and V, or Chinese, L and R. So it's not a great use of my time. I would teach a small group of the same language and basically level, and actually people could learn from each other, but it's not, I'm like such a high level teacher. What I'm teaching is so high level that it wouldn't be productive. But can you repeat that question because I may have missed a part of it?
Yeah. The question was to understand, why you prefer a personal session with student or any virtual session, or, like you
Yeah.
do a pre-recorded audios or videos. Normally what I see on the YouTube, the English is all pre-recorded.
Yes.
But
And I use those. And I have some fellow teachers who are out there and their focus is making recordings and doing things like that. Maybe I'll do that at some point, but for me, I'm dealing with a high level student who has specific things going on, specific motivations, specific aptitude, or even age when they started. Everybody is different. How they're using the language. Are they staying in this country? Do they want to be a part of the culture? Or are they just here for a while? They're going back home. It's just much more effective and different personalities, completely different personalities of everyone. I'm going to make a note of something cultural because we keep saying cultural, but let's give an example is smiling. Not all cultures smile. In this culture, meaning in the US, a smile is kind of like a welcome. Here I'm friendly. I'm paying attention to you. And I have had to teach a little bit of smiling, not in a fake way, but in a like, you can't just be like this. You have to make people feel comfortable with you. So the answer is it's easier for me to teach one-on-one and really get to know somebody. I think you learn better. But again, I have this lovely thing where I've had probably, I don't know, at least 10 groups of spouses where they go home and they start correcting each other. Oh, Michelle said this. They're either arguing or they're agreeing. I don't know. But, it's just more fun for me.
yeah. So since we have used the word fun, let me ask you a question. If you could ban one overused English word or phrase forever, which one would it be?
Well, I'm gonna go back to like,
Like,
like
yeah,
that kind of thing. I don't know if I would say any word would do that. I always find this is a word you're not going to use a lot, but I've heard it from every culture, the word squirrel, the little animal. Nobody can say it. But I think those filler words, I would love to get rid of those.
if I want to ban a word, I would probably get rid of one phrase which called I believe so.
I believe so. Okay, like it's a green. Well, right there, if you want to talk about being assertive, it's eliminating the I'm sorry, but can I talk to you? Or I'm sorry, just say it. Say, I want to talk to you, or I have to say this. That those little direct ways of saying things, I think, are better. So I'm gonna answer all over again. I'm sorry is what I don't like. Don't apologize.
Okay. Uh, I have an interesting segment now. I'm going to show you a video. He's a great personality from India. Okay. You wanna
And make me do judge this? Okay.
he he's a politician from India, a very big
Okay.
politician and a very popular politician. And he's very popular. He's popular for many reasons, but I think one of the reason is that for his English. And when he speaks, you need to have a dictionary with you, to really understand, because he come up with such,
Okay. All right.
the words which are not common for people like us, like for common people. So let me play that audio and just tell me what do you
I
think
can't,
about that.
I can't wait.
One second, let me share.
Okay.
I hope I'll be able to
Hopefully our
share.
viewers can hear. Should we sing a song while we wait?
No, tell me when you see my screen.
Can I put my glasses on for this,
Of course,
everybody?
of course.
Thank you. Okay, let's hear it.
Yeah. So his name is Shashi Tharoor, and
Beautiful
I'm
name.
I'm playing. I'm gonna play video now.
Okay.
And no cattle.
Do you know what Shashi Tharoor meant by all hat and no cattle?
It means someone who is all talk with no action.
More onerous than that of the most rapacious of those that preceded them.
Onerous means something that is very difficult. Rapacious means extremely greedy.
Comment a sentence with what we learned and follow.
All hat and no cattle.
Do you know what Shashi Tharoor meant by all hat and
Okay. The all hat and no cattle is very Texas-y. I would never say that in Chicago. Probably not in New York. So that's a regionalism. How he got that would be interesting to know. Was he in, that part of the United States? And it's kind of an old saying, really. I'm going to guess he actually got it from a movie, because I can't tell you how many. Well, you do that too. Like, I have so many people that say, "Oh, I got that from a movie. I got that from Star Trek or something," you know? But that's, and the reason is those Texas hats, they're very big, right? So it's all show. You look the part, but you don't have the background, You look like a cowboy, but you have no cows. Okay. Something like that. And the other one, I mean, that's a word I don't think most people use. But I think that what I'm hearing, sometimes people who are public speakers like that will take a vocabulary word that's maybe too big even for the situation. People overcompensate. And that is actually, you asked earlier, like, how can I find the right word to say in a meeting to really express myself? Sometimes people will take too big of a word and it'll sound too formal. Okay. Or it's not really fitting the situation. But that is funny. What do you think of him?
Me, yes, sometimes the words he uses, it's very interesting. I really go check out the history. And there is one book I have, let me show you. That really helps, if you really want to understand the origins of words. This is the book. I hope you are able to
I
see it.
know that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a great book, and someone who wants to really understand the origin of words, and even if you don't know the language, but if you're able to learn how that word was originated, because
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of connecting words,
Mm-hmm.
and you can make out, what other person is trying to say. So I do some research, yeah. But for me, this is like a too advanced English, and I don't think so. I would ever like to use such English in my day-to-day life with my colleagues or with my friend.
Well, and I can say too, I use, like, we have done advanced vocabulary lists and we decide, what does this word mean? How can we use it? And then how can we really use it? Like, would we really use it? I don't want to just teach words that, just for the sake of teaching words. How can you use the words? Let's add too, along with the different sounds that people are bringing, we talk a lot about stress, right? Like,
Yeah.
that is half the battle with an accent. Different stress patterns. And what I mean for your audience is we give a syllable an extra amount of energy, like the word pronunciation, right? Not pronunciate. We also can talk about record and record, right? Record is a noun, record is a verb. And there are all these little things that it's a lot of work to build all those skills with the language and remember all those rules.
It is a bit stressful to add stress to words.
Haha. It can be. Yeah. I think that's what people are surprised about.
Yeah.
So, but you're doing great. I'm very proud of you, really.
Thank you. And one more thing which I feel that sometimes you are too much worried about what other people might think about you. Let's say, I've been going through your training program, and sometimes I say words a bit differently, and then I would get a reaction like, "Hey, why are you trying to flaunt? I know you are in US, but why are you trying to flaunt US acts?" I said, "I'm not trying to flaunt. It's just something that I've been practicing." As
Yes.
just stay natural. This is a mindset which I don't want to break. It said, okay, I cannot really control how people think, but as long as I know that I'm trying to do something good, something better for my own development, I like to continue with that.
But let's talk about you and people from India specifically. So, colonized by the UK, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we won't go down that road. But you have your own lovely, correct version of English in India.
Yes.
We don't have to change any of it. It's perfect. You all use it together. You are working in the United States now. So we have different sounds, different ways to say some things. And we call it code switching in language. Okay. You can kind of flip into the different ways of doing things. You may even do it. You did it with who's your other lovely guest before me? Who was your friend that you interviewed? Yes. Okay, so you were code switching. You would speak in your native language and then in English, and you're flipping around. You can also do that with the pronunciation, with the dialect. Okay, so you're not showing off. If you have had to, for your work, become more understandable to the American colleagues, and that's what we're teaching you. Right? It's just, but none of it's wrong, okay? I want to be really clear with all respect to people's culture and country and language. You all are very different and unique in India. My Russians don't have the same thing because they don't have a specific version of English they're doing, okay? But India is special, I think. And you have the best food in the whole world. Come on, let's be serious, right?
I
You
No
do,
doubt about that. No doubt about that. That's the best thing. That's one of the best thing we have.
easily. Yeah, good.
So, Michelle, so before we wrap up today's interview, I want to play a quick game, a rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Just say the first thing that comes to your mind. No overthinking here.
Okay.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, black, dark.
Are you a grammar police or a typo tolerance?
Am I?
A
I'm tolerant.
typo tolerant?
Typo tolerant? Oh, I know what you mean. No, I actually think, can I have a moment to answer that rather than rapid? Because it's kind of, I want to
Okay.
make a point here.
Yeah.
Texting and the things that we do in texting have its own rules, actually. And there's a famous linguist, David Crystal from the UK. People thought, oh, he was going to be so serious about what are the young people doing. He's fine with it. Everybody's writing. He's delighted. Okay, so there you go. Okay.
Your favorite English word?
Oh, music.
One word your students always mispronounce.
Anything with the letter R or like three. Three is a really hard one for people because the TH most people don't have, and then the R, and it's all together, and they think, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Three. Everybody practice that one.
Okay.
Okay.
Last question. If
Yes.
English wasn't your subject, what would you be teaching instead?
I used to be a piano teacher, and so I taught piano. What else would I teach? I like to cook, but probably music or cooking. That would be it.
And the last question, this is for our audiences. Uh, if anyone wants to reach out to you, how
Yeah.
can they reach out to you? Like, so you want to mention your
Okay.
email ID, and I'm going to put that email ID in my description section as well for people to go back and refer and reach out to you.
That would be great. I'm just in the middle of getting a new website put up. I'm on LinkedIn, though, Michelle Marvin, Accent Clarity Coaching. And it's michellesmarvin@gmail.com. You can talk to our lovely host here. But I do take students. I take them long term. I take people for a few sessions to work on the bigger things. And I do a complimentary free interview to talk before to see if it's something people want to do. But my website will be up soon. Okay.
Michelle, thank you so much for sharing your journey, your experience, and all those wonderful insights with us today. It's it's inspiring to hear from someone who doesn't just teach English, but really helps people gain confidence and build genuine connection through communication.
I know. I love my students, friends for life. And I just want people to really be successful and happy with how they're sounding in their lives, both work and with their families and living in the U.S. or wherever, whatever you're doing.
Thank you, Michelle. To all our listeners, I hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as I did. Remember, learning a language is not just about grammar and vocabulary, it's about opening doors, making friends, and understanding the world in new ways. Michelle, once again, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was my pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
And to everyone tuning in, stay curious, keep learning, and until next time, this is Praveen signing off from Radio Unfiltered.